Hey guys, Thetcglover here, can't view another video today. Right, so this is going to be rulings video number 2. If you haven't seen the first one, I made it about a month ago, and I have it on the screen somewhere, probably an annotation linking you back to rulings number 1. Today I've got you 3 rulings which I found personally interesting. Of course, it can be kind of relevant to the meta, cards that you actually see being played, and rulings that kind of confuse people. So anyway, the first one I want to go through is Shockmaster. Of course, I made a massive video about how much I love Shockmaster and how good it is this format. If you use it, you're going to beat meta decks quite easily if you can pull it off. Yeah, there's not many ways to get out of it. However, if you detach 4 monsters, okay, obviously you can either choose monster spells or traps, and the effects cannot be activated, and what that means is that you cannot activate the effect of a monster, of course. However, if a monster has an inbuilt summoning condition, the actual monster can summon itself without having to activate an effect. For instance, if you have Machina Fortress, in my case, or you play Dark Worlds and you have Grapha, or you play Agents and you have Master Hyperion, or you have synchro summoning or so on like that. These inherent summoning conditions don't actually activate. I mean, like for instance with Hyperion, you banish an agent to summon Hyperion. Card summons itself and it doesn't have to activate whatsoever. So obviously you can summon this card and run over it, because I've actually seen people with Hyperion in hand and I'm saying, why didn't you summon it? You could have run over Shockmaster. And then they say, oh, because I didn't realize that you could actually summon it. And it costs them the game, so it makes sense to actually realize that you can't activate effects, but you can summon these monsters, particular ones that don't have activation requirements. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is stuff like Paladynamo, and when it reduces monster attack to 0. If you have, say you summon Paladynamo and you detach materials and you target Grapha on the field, and they have a field spell, let's say they have Gates of Dark World that gives Grapha 300 extra power. Some people I've heard say that if you reduce Grapha's attack to 0, the field spell applies its attack boost and then it becomes 300 attack. So Grapha's 300, Paladynamo is 2000. However, that is not true, simply because that when Paladynamo reduces a monster to 0, it actually puts a kind of condition on the card itself, so to speak, that makes it attack 0. So if you want to boost Grapha back from 0 to 300 if you want, then you're going to have to activate a second Gates of Dark World, or you're going to have to activate another card that will boost its attack points up permanently, so it actually gets it above 0. However, obviously Paladynamo is just going to kill it anyway. But I've noticed people trying to cut corners and trying to be cheeky by taking off 1700 points, and I'm like, no, the attack's 0. Forget the field spell. The field spell doesn't apply to this card anymore because Paladynamo has made it 0, and that is that. And it's not just applies to Paladynamo, it applies to stuff like Pillar Imperative, it applies to a lot of other cards that reduce attack down really low to stuff 0 and so on like that. And the last one I want to talk about is Crimson Blader. Some people have found this card to be confusing. The question is, what happens when Crimson Blader crashes into a Colossal fighter that hasn't got any attack boost? Crimson Blader stop it, does it kind of resolve in a kind of Seagok chain so that Colossal fighter can summon itself before Crimson Blader's effect activates? Actually, if you look at the card of Crimson Blader, you actually realize that it says destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. What this implies in the card text is basically when it destroys a monster, if it would be destroyed itself at the same time, it needs to be face up on the field to resolve its effect. So if you crash into a Colossal fighter, the effect doesn't get applied, and Colossal fighter obviously has the opportunity to special summon itself back. If you do attack into a 2100 monster and then they activate Rush recklessly, that's a pretty good play on their side because they don't have to worry about Crimson Blader's effect. It's a kind of card that gets confusing with something like Jurak Gwaiba, because Gwaiba just says destroyed by battle, so you can actually destroy tokens and so on like that. And obviously Jurak Gwaiba can actually crash into a monster of the same attack and still get its effect off and summon another Jurak Gwaiba or another Jurak, whatever you want. I hope that's cleared up a few problems. Of course, these are pretty simple rulings, but I'm only saying these because I feel like a lot of people don't understand. I mean, a lot of the time, if you just read the card, it actually tells you what to do. But people don't actually read anymore for some reason. It's like I have like ridiculous amount of books here. If I can just take like, you know, like even comics, like Yu-Gi-Oh mangas, just read those. I mean, Like, at least your comprehension of reading will go up, so that means you can understand cards better, actually in English. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and there will be a Rulings number 3 coming up in, I guess, a month or a week or something like that, depending on when I can find these interesting rulings. And until next time, guys, the Thetcglover is out.